I'm Heather Upfield and we're here in the clock room, and today I'm going to be telling you something about the clock here and also about James Blair, who made the clock in 1816. Now the clock itself is in this cast iron frame, and the cogs here are linked to this lovely central connecting set of cogs, which then fan out to the four alcoves where the dials are. If we look over here, you can see these motion work cogs which drive the hands. So the dials are just on the other side there, and you'll see that the dials are painted on wood so that they can be opened inwards for repairs. Now originally in James Blair's time, when he built this clock, they were painted black with gold numerals and gold hands. It was a very fancy clock back then. If we come over here, the setting dial, which is this dial here, this is where you would expect to find the clockmaker's signature. And sure enough, if you come in, you'll see James Blair, Kilwinning, 1816. We know a little bit about James Blair. We know that he was born in 1781 and completed a 4-year apprenticeship in clockmaking in 1800. He then came to Kilwinning, where he married Jean Small in 1802 here at the Abbey Church, and he then set up as a clockmaker in Kilwinning, making quality long case clocks, which we also know as grandfather clocks. He had a very successful business, and a lot of his clocks are still in existence, and there is a very fine example in private hands down in the south of England. We're also very lucky to have an exhibit down on the ground floor of the Heritage Centre, which is a dial from one of his clocks, and although it's deteriorated quite a lot before it came into our hands, it's still possible to see the illustrations on it and James Blair's signature across the centre of the dial. Now, James Blair, we think, probably ceased trading around 1836, and from his gravestone we know that he died in 1850, and his grave is in the purlieu of the Abbey ruins. Moving ahead now to 1950, the clock had stopped and the dials were needed painting again. So Andrew Johnston, who was a very well-known clock and watch repairer in Kilwinning, from a family who were very well known throughout the 20th century here, he was commissioned to do the repairs on the clock and to paint the dials. Well, he did a good job on the dials. He painted them white with the black numerals and the black hands that we see today. But when it came to the clock, although he got it working again, he sadly stripped out a lot of the original James Blair clock. For example, there would have been pulleys and levers that linked up to the bell above us there. There would have been a huge, hefty, great pendulum that would have gone through to the floor below, and there would have been a manual winding crank for winding the clock. Nowadays, the clock is automated, as are the bells. It's driven by electricity, so there's no need for anyone to run up and down the stairs these days to wind the clock by hand. Now, I think you're just about to head up to the floor above where the belfry is, but before that I'd like to show you some of the original graffiti that's been put here by tradesmen over the years. I like this one. It's the initials AR with the date 1816, which was when the Abbey Tower and the clock were built. We have another quite large tradesman's sign there, and another one, February the 29th, 1892. Those are the clearest ones, and we've yet to discover who painted them and any of their history.